Sibambeni. 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 Wathinta thina. Wathinta thina. Wathinta thina. Wathinta thina. Hi, amabhubhisi. Wathinta amabhubhisi. 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 Amandla. Wimpimpi Ramaphosa. Wimpimpi Ramaphosa. Wimpimpi Ramaphosa. Uyathakatha Ramaphosa. Uyathakatha Ramaphosa. Umbulali Ramaphosa. Umbulali Ramaphosa. Umbulali Ramaphosa. Wimpimpi Ramaphosa. Mawimpimpi efana no Ramaphosa. Sumusale, simusele. SG. Mawimpimpi efana no Ramaphosa. Simusale. No, I'm the one who says that. Then you must respond. Mawimpimpi efana no Ramaphosa. Simusale, simusele. So you say simusagas. Mawimpimpi ufana no Ramaphosa. Simusale, simusele. Mawimpimpi ufana no Ramaphosa. Simusale, simusele. Simusagas. 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 Amandla. Amandla. Thank you very much. Siyabonga. Sekela Mongameli. Sanibonani KwaZulu-Natal. Niyaphila. Ayithi sibonge. Before I do anything, ngithanda ukuqala ngibingelele isilo sikaZulu. Kimusi Zulu Zulu, because we are all under his leadership. And I want to say Bayete, 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 when I went drove, when I went drove, when I went drove, Yabonga. Ngibingelele abantwana basendlunkulu, amakhosi kanye nezinduna. Ngiyabulela because all of us in the leadership recognize that before we can do anything, when you arrive in a place, you must greet and salute our leaders. And a special thanks and greetings to Inkosi Tembe from Tembe Royal Clan in Mhlaba Uyalingana, because Inkosi Tembe has always been with the EFF and he has done so unashamedly when it has not been fashionable to do so. Provincial leaders who are here, our provincial convener, and two coordinators. There are two coordinators from now going forward here in KwaZulu-Natal, Commissar Ntokozo Tlhonyane and Commissar Fanamukwena, because this province is too big. We are going to divide it into two and make sure we have a proper focus on each and every region and every sub-region and branch, because no stone must be left unturned here in KwaZulu-Natal. We mean business when we say 2024 is our 1994. Ground forces of the EFF, led by Sub-Regional Election Task Force and Regional Election Task Forces. Commissars, all of you are here and our staff members, we thank you for having organized this successful Provincial Ground Forces Forum, because that's where we have an opportunity to speak directly in an undistorted manner to the ground forces of the EFF, so that when they leave here, they know what is expected from them, and no one will have an excuse of saying we were never spoken to and we did not know what we were doing. So we are here as part of preparing for 2024 provincial and national elections. These elections are going to be the most important elections, because for the first time the ANC is going to face a serious contestation in an election. And 2024 is going to be a turning point for the politics of South Africa. And 2024 will be an opportunity where the lost opportunities of 1994 are to be attained. Everything we longed for and wished for in 1994 will be realized after the elections of 2024. So fighters, many people say the revolution took place in South Africa in 1994. It is not true, because once the revolution takes place, the oppressor loses something and the oppressed gain something. So since 1994, the oppressor never lost anything. If anything, the oppressor gained more, and the oppressed have become more oppressed by the oppressor. One white man jokingly was saying to me, which was a very bad joke, that if we had known what we know now, would have given you freedom before 1976 so that we don't kill children. So I said, I don't understand what you're talking about. He said, we're making more money now than we did during apartheid. Had we known that democracy means us making more money, would have given you without even killing you, because now we can make more money without a threat of the revolution or a protest or a bombing by black communities, because they now have their freedom. But what kind of freedom is this, where the oppressed have gained nothing and the oppressor lost nothing? Comrades, Ipsos says the ANC will not win KwaZulu-Natal. It's not me. It's a research institution, a credible research institution that has never missed an opportunity to predict what's going to happen. The only time they missed was in 2014, when they could not locate the EFF properly, because no one knew in 2014 what was this animal called the EFF. So even science could not respond to what the EFF is in 2014. And they predicted it to what, 2-3% or something like that. But since that time, Ipsos has never missed the prediction about the politics and possible outcomes of elections of any political party, including the EFF. So Ipsos says, it's not me, it's science, the ANC will not win a province of KwaZulu-Natal. So when a person like Mutolo comes to you and says, Beki Mutolo, the secretary of the ANC in the province, when he comes to you and says the ANC is going to win elections in KwaZulu-Natal, you must tell him that you are beginning to trust the rumors you have been hearing about him. because a normal person won't say that. I don't know what the rumors are, but once he says the ANC is going to win elections, you must say there have been very strong rumors about you. Now that you are saying that, you just confirmed my suspicion, because a normal person will never say that. It's a well-known fact in the community of where Bheki Mtolo comes from, that he's got a capacity to think like that. He has done it growing up, and he appeared like he has overcome that situation he had when he was young. But the situation is coming back. Now he's going against science. And the people who go against science is the people who have a situation which needs medical attention. Not even politics can resolve the problem that Mutolo has. So please don't bring him to us. Look for the nearest psychiatric hospital. That's where they can attend to him effectively, because it's a medical condition. Not only him, anyone who says the ANC is going to win elections, you must say to them, you sound like Mutolo, and you know Mutolo's problem. So don't sound like Mutolo, because we might end up booking you wrongly. So do not reason and think like Mutolo, because KwaZulu-Natal will not be under the ANC come 2024, whether they like it or not. But what is worse is not only KwaZulu-Natal, it's Gauteng, it's Free State, it's Mpumalanga, it's Limpopo, it's Northwest, it's the whole entire South Africa, which will not be under the ANC come 2024. We are the generation that is going to remove criminals, and we don't theorize about it. We are going to practically do it in 2024, because we are the ones who have been waiting for. South Africa has been waiting for the arrival of the EFF, and the EFF arrived 10 years ago, and since the arrival of the EFF, ANC has been losing election every year when we go to the elections. But when the EFF was not there, the ANC was not losing elections. So it is the EFF that is removing the ANC from power. When we spoke to you and said to you, we are a government in waiting, they said they are mad, they don't know what they are talking about. Some were even making jokes about it, that you are a government in waiting, you will wait forever. Little did they know that will be government even before 2024 in eThekwini, where we are going to lead decisively infrastructure of that beautiful metro. We're doing it now, and we'll do it even much better after 2024. So we are no longer government in waiting. We are government. We may not be government in your municipality, but we are government in eThekwini. We are government in Nongoma, we are government in Ekurhuleni, we are government in Nelson Mandela Bay, we are government in Mogale City, because we are preparing ourselves for a full-blown government of the EFF come 2024. So, seated here are potential MECs, potential ministers, because they won't be deputy ministers. So if you are aiming at deputy minister, the post is not available. Seated here, there are potential DGs, HODs, strategic CEOs, and the people who will be leading sections of our government to make sure that we do the right thing. Comrades, 1994 will never have been a revolution, because a revolution means a complete overhaul of the system and replace it with a new system. So when we speak revolution, we mean that capitalism shall be crushed and it will be replaced by socialism. And at times, the revolution does not have to be violent. It has to be through the democratic means, with a willing leadership that will take over power and introduce leftist, socialist perspectives and policies unashamedly without apologizing to anyone. When the leadership of our country in 1994 had an opportunity to change capitalist policies for left policies, which they pronounced themselves, which Mandela pronounced when he walked out of prison and gave the first address at the hall there in Cape Town. He said, nationalization is the policy of the ANC. When they took over power, they forgot what they said on the eve of 1994. By that, then compromised the revolution. Had we nationalized, then we can say the revolution took place in South Africa. So the leadership of the EFF, when it takes over power, it must introduce alternative policies to capitalist policies. One of the most practical things we need to do, because when we're talking nationalization, people resort to other means of saying you are going to take people's banks. You want to take people's banks. We're not taking anyone's banks. They can have their corrupt banks. We will establish our own state-owned bank, which will compete with the other banks. Now, when you say you want to establish a state-owned bank, they have a problem with that. They say, what's going to happen to the 4 banks? You are going to collapse those 4 banks. It's not true. There is a state-owned hospitals, there is private hospitals. State-owned schools, there is private schools. There is state-owned everything, there is private-owned everything. Therefore, let there be a state-owned bank and let there be private-owned bank. Let the one that provides reasonable rates to our people be the first priority or choice. Today, the banks manipulate the rent. All of you here, no one has ever suggested any radical action against the banks, because we are being controlled and captured by capital. The banks manipulated the rent, made the repayments of your car more expensive, made the repayment of your bond more expensive, made the repayment of your loan more expensive, meaning they got more money than what they're supposed to get. I'm not saying anything, but all I was saying is, if people steal from you like that, why can't we show them the power of the people and say, for 2 days, we are not going to bank. There's no banking in South Africa. All of them must close. And when they say to you, but you are going to collapse the bank, you say, they've already made that money. They must go and fetch from the one they stole to cover the 2 days of non-banking. Why can't you say, let's stop paying bonds for 2 months, or 3 months, because they've already paid themselves. By stealing to us, it means we paid in advance, because you took more than what you were supposed to take from us. We don't want it back. For the next 3 months, use it to pay our bonds. Why is there no one who said nobody who owns a taxi in South Africa must pay for those taxis for the next 3 months? Because manipulation of the rand meant that all those who own taxis that are financed by Taxi SA and financed by the banks, they paid more than what they were supposed to pay. That's why today there is no single person who can say, I am rich because of taxis exclusively. They just punish our people through heavy repayments. They give them taxes, they make sure they pay them for 5 years. By the time they finish that 5 years, the taxi is finished. You have to go and get another one through the bank. You will never be rich. And because our people don't appreciate those economics, they even maintain this old scrap of a taxi and then buy a new one. What was supposed to be some food on the table goes into paying this scrap, fixing it all the time. So the second taxi means more problems. So why has there not been a call? It is because we are controlled and we are owned by the owners of the banks, and the banks think they've got more power than all of us. But no one can ever have power more than the masses of our people. Once the masses unite, once the masses say it's enough with what the banks have been doing, all of us will be on the streets to teach banks a lesson. So, comrades, a radical organization. A radical organization cannot continue business as usual. You take over power, you continue with the same things that the ANC have been doing. You are not a radical organization. You are an ANC light. So that's why people ask you, what are you going to do different from what these people are doing? Because if you are going to offer our people something different, then they will have to choose you. But if you have no alternative, they have to stick with the ANC and the IFP. 30 years of mediocrity, 30 years of being led by fools, 30 years of being led by non-thinkers. And then you know very well, in KwaZulu-Natal, I don't have to explain that to you. Because you look at Duma and you look at Mutolo, you realize we are led by fools in a literal meaning of a word fool. Because what is thinking about Duma? What are the brains about Duma? That has been 30 years. If you thought Zigalala was worse because he was also mediocre from just watching him walking, you just see his pugupugules. Then Zigalala left. Worse than, if you can be worse than Zigalala, you are the lowest. Worse than Zigalala came into this province. We have no economy in our hands. even when they launched the new MSC port and all of that, we are just watching. In our own city, in our own province, we have nothing to say. We are socially excluded for 30 years. Social exclusion means that if there is anything you want to do socially and you are unable to do it because you don't have the necessary resource to achieve that social status, you are excluded for 30 years. Floyd Shibambu, you have been wanting to put a gold teeth. It's your choice. But you can't do it because you have no means to do it because you are excluded. For 30 years, you sit on the side. So, 30 years of joblessness, 30 years of unemployment in KwaZulu-Natal. From the Zuma Mbeki time, it became worse now. 30 years of homelessness. And if you think you are in a house and you are enjoying, no problem. Go and see the victims of the floods here in KwaZulu-Natal. Go to KwaMashu and go and see the people in the hostels. A government that said it will turn the hostels into family unit. Those hostels have degenerated for worse. For 30 years, our people have been subjected to that. 30 years of crime and political killings in KZN. Yeah, I always send Marshall, our Secretary General, videos every time people kill each other in KwaZulu-Natal, and I ask him, what is the problem with this province? Why do people kill each other with ease? That has been going on and was supposed to be stopped. 30 years ago, it has become worse to a point now where there is a special unit in Natal to concentrate on political killings. That's how much we've accepted that we've failed to deal with this issue of political tolerance in KZN. Comrades, the crime where there are people who are well-known killers, and we even give them Zulu names in Nkabi. That one is Nkabi. That one is, they are well known that these are walking killing machines and the state can't do anything about it. That those Nkabis become celebrated individuals in our communities. That we know who's committing cash in transit haste. We know who's going around raping women who are scared to talk because we are going to die. Why should there be anyone in society who's more powerful than the state? Because the state has got a legitimate right and power to unleash violence on anyone who meets violence against its own people. We have criminals who are more dangerous when they are in prison than when they are outside. So why should we keep them? Because we can't keep them outside prison. We can't keep them in prison. So what must happen to them? They have to meet their maker in order to liberate society. A well-known thug that goes into people's businesses. I want 30%. I want 40%. If I come here and open a restaurant, you are West, you are not from here in Natal. I want 30%. That's fine. Why are they not asking 30% of ShopRite? Why are they not asking 30% of Pick and Pay? Because they are white-owned. Why are they not asking 30% of Sanlam? That there shall not be Sanlam in KwaZulu-Natal if we don't have 30%. Why are they not targeting white-owned companies do not fall victim of 30%? It's black people who suffer from self-hate, who are jealous of each other and attack other black people in the name of wanting to be economically empowered. We have no problem with 30%. But the problem with 30% of KwaZulu-Natal and everywhere else they go doing thuggerish things, they don't want to work for 30%. They want you to give money and then they walk away. But if it was a 30% of our company, you transfer skill and our company also earns some points and then it's at another level, then we'll talk. But not thuggerish of saying an educated criminal who can't even count numbers. They say a tender is 1 billion. He says I want 30% of 1 billion. Then what's going to happen? Because a construction tender that has got no corruption, if it has done well in profit, is 10%. So when you take 30, this person will not make profit. If anything, this person will not complete this project, and this project is aiming at benefiting you, the people of KwaZulu-Natal, and it is stopped and sabotaged by a group of thugs that are untouchable, well-known and politically connected. Comrades, 30 years of dysfunctional municipalities and poor services, 30 years of inequality, and without the economy growing. When Cyril took over from Zuma, they said, this is a billionaire. He knows the economy. He's going to grow our economy. He has not contributed any growth to our economy. If anything, if this man is not removed, this economy will collapse to nothing after 2024. We've got the power to rescue our economy come 2024. Comrades, here in KwaZulu-Natal, we have a premier who agreed to be a puppet. And then you guys, Magasela and them, you post pictures sympathizing with her. It's not about a man abusing a woman. A woman agreed from the beginning to be used as a puppet. Why should a woman agree to that? In the name of women. Because it was told to her that no, uzopata marawaz ukuthi yimi ngiphethe la. Athi ngizoyenza kahle wangazi. So the friends are fighting because the other one is disloyal to her puppetry status. She agreed that she will be a puppet and she will hold it for Duma because Duma can't take it immediately. It will expose them. When Duma does what they two agreed, it looks like it's a woman abuse. It's not a woman abuse. It's factional arrangements. When factions have met and agreed that they are going to fool us, now they can't tolerate each other and they embarrass one another in public. They say, Premier, come and carry the cup. Duma goes to carry the cup. Duma never blocked the Premier. The Premier knows the real Premier is here. That's why she's standing. No one analyzes that because we must use gender to suppress factional politics of the ANC. No one sees that the premier is not. It is announced openly. Premier and that other white man, I don't know him. They say, you two are going to lift the cup. The white man moves forward to go and take the cup. Duma moves forward to go and take the cup. Why didn't the premier move? Because it was announced that premier, she knows where she is, that she is not a premier. She agreed to be used as a front and as a puppet. And you cannot have sympathy with people who agree to be used by men. Because from the beginning she should have said, I don't want this. You can do it yourself. Why do you want me to manage it for you? So you are a province without a premier. Because the one you have is not a premier. The real premier is Duma. And it will not end now, Shem. It's going to be worse going into elections. Because Duma, I just told you earlier, they are non-thinkers. They thought it's obvious for ANC to win 2024. Therefore, she will be a premier temporarily. Duma is going to take the full term after 2024. Uzoebona ezulini le. He will never be a premier yet. It's a missed opportunity. He will never see it. He will be a premier in his kitchen. Not here in KwaZulu-Natal. Factionalism denied him an opportunity to be a premier. It's none of our problems. We are taking it ourselves directly, and we will not put puppets. We will put thinkers of KwaZulu-Natal into that big responsibility of steering the ship on behalf of the EFF. So, comrades, let's ensure that when we go to elections next year, we remind our people that, you know, a municipality like Msunduzi, municipality gives money to a soccer team, sponsorship to a soccer league. We have no problem with soccer and teams being supported. But we ought to know where are we sourcing the support, because we cannot go into poor municipalities to take money that is meant to put in taps, infrastructure, and give it to soccer teams of people with money. How do you give Mamkize money? Because it's supposed to be the other way around. She should give the poorest municipalities of KwaZulu-Natal money, because Mamkize is more rich than a lot of municipalities here in KwaZulu-Natal. But your municipalities like pretending like they are rich, richer than rich people. Imagine a person saying, we are going to give Sundowns 10 million to play in Moses Mabhida. Sundowns doesn't need 10 million. Can't we do something effective to develop football in KwaZulu-Natal than to give 10 million to a club that doesn't want it? The owner of Sundowns, when Sundowns has won a competition and there is money, the owner takes that money and share it amongst the players. The players. So you go and take money and give to people who don't need that particular money. There's nothing wrong in developing sports, in investing in local sports, in making sure that football becomes a big thing in KwaZulu-Natal, but not at the expense of the poor municipalities which are about to close shop because they are not sure what's going to happen to them in the next few months. Comrades, when we say we are government in eThekwini, we mean that the EFF caucus in eThekwini must never get tired of holding the ANC accountable for paying Albert Luthuli Conference Center in August for the Women's League Conference. The ANC Women's League Conference paid for by the municipality, and the EFF keep quiet. The EFF must never keep quiet. We are not in a coalition with the ANC. We are working alone. We are not friends with anyone. That's why in eThekwini, hold the ANC accountable. Don't behave like you are part of the ANC corruption. You have to make sure that whether you are the chairperson of infrastructure, whether you are MMC, where the ANC is involved, you must listen to them 3 times. What do you mean? Can you repeat that? Because there are criminals who could be saying this and meaning something else. When you work with the ANC, you must always be awake. Otherwise, you'll read about yourself in the papers and you'll be shocked that is that me. Because they will make you do wrong things. Because you are thinking we are nice, we are together. We are not together with the ANC. We are leading that municipality because the people of eThekwini have elected us. No one is doing us a favor. How can Kaunda do us a favor? Before Kaunda does us a favor, he must go and do himself a favor with his failed music career. He tried to sing Gom. Lindasvia tried to boost him. It dismally failed because there is no talent at that level. So you must never look at Kaunda and think this guy has done us a favor. Unlike other municipalities, we are in that executive because of the votes we got, not because anyone invited us. Even if they don't like us, we'll still be in the executive. We may not hold a powerful department, but executive we are sitting. Why? The people of eThekwini said so. But some of you are getting confused, you're thinking, and even when they say to you, you are working with the ANC, you start believing it or okay. When we don't work with the ANC, why do we have a person in the executive? It's not true. No one has given us that position. It is the voters who gave us that position. Comrades, we must make sure that the IFP in all municipalities where it governs, we guard it properly. Because IFP, everywhere where it governs, there is financial mismanagement and there are sexual scandals. In every municipality governed by the IFP, they don't hire people through qualification. They use tribalism and they use sexual favors. That is the policy of the IFP. Every time you see IFP mayor and IFP leader, nangu to knows. We must make sure that the IFP, which is suffering from paranoia, does not hire lots and lots of bodyguards for themselves at the expense of our municipalities, because they are so obsessed with bodyguards. If there is a threat, let there be a driver and a bodyguard. How can a mayor of a rural municipality have 14 bodyguards? Deputy mayor, 8. Speaker, 9. And then what's going to happen to the money that we could budget and hire a security to go and look after our clinics as we open them 24/7. We hire bodyguards to look after the most useless people. I mean, there is a comrade there. We grew up with her in the youth league called Stella Ndabeni. They now call her Stella Abrams. She's a minister of small business with bodyguards. Why would you want to kill a minister of small business? A minister must pass a shop. What did she deny you? Did she refuse you as part of a shop? There are lots of people like her, including deputy ministers, that without bodyguard you won't even notice that this is a deputy minister. Now when you see people moving differently, only then you pay attention. Oh, hey, what's happening? But no, deputy minister, which one? Even me, where I am now, in my position, there are certain deputy ministers I don't know. I get shocked, huh? Even this one. Bodyguards are hired for status, for glory, not even for power. Those 14 bodyguards are given to a mayor by the municipal manager who's corrupt, because the mayor must feel like the municipal manager likes me. Can't the municipal manager realize you like things, give you the things you like, and take all the power to themselves? So where the EFF finds itself operating with the IFP, Vulamehlo, there's something wrong there. So we must always mark two forces here. That's how powerful we are. We are competing with two people. The IFP this side, the ANC this side. And that must be very clear. I heard the deputy president saying, if given an opportunity, we must remove the district mayor of Zululand. We must remove, we don't want an opportunity. We must remove anything that is IFP, where we've got the power. We must remove them. You know why we're removing them? There's nothing they can do. They used to threaten people here and intimidate everyone. They will never do that with the EFF. They will never coerce our votes through intimidation and threats of violence. We will remove them. We have removed them anyway in many municipalities. We were seated with them in a meeting like this. And we said, let's do the following since we're working together. They said no. We said, we're going to remove you. They said, there's nothing like that. You know, these people are so good with puppeteering. That puppet president of the IFP pretended like he's got some power. Even called a press conference the following day. Hey, we're not scared of Malema. Nongoma. Sbashaya Kona Nongoma, where it matters the most for the IFP. Sbashaye, Babe in denial. We are born a Lenkunzi AFP, but he was in parliament. What's the Nongoma? Umwango. Abalega in motors, the municipality. He could not believe it. He thought he was dreaming. Samshaya. Sakala straight in Nongoma. Saishaya IFP. What about to see a Dala as it Lali? Thinking they can intimidate us, we are not the ANC. We don't use violence. We use superior logic. We make calculated move. Sushaye sihleke nawe sithi amngani uzobuya one day yazi ungawali. In Newcastle, we were supposed to be a government in Newcastle. I don't know what Bumongis did. Because that team, I almost said Team Sugar. Team Sugar. Team Sugar is EFF. Every vote of Team Sugar is an EFF vote, which was stolen from us. But because Silwa Nenkat were prepared to give Team Sugar a mayor of Newcastle so that we remove the IFP before the election. DP, it's your mandate. Hambo yokuluma ne Team Sugar, ukulume ne Congolo Zuta izanla sevens together, but come in. Ikona inkata la sifuna udila nayo. Sishaye Newcastle. You know why? I enjoy every time the IFP gets removed from power. It's because they scream like kids, like, yeah, that Malema, we know him is disrespectful. Disrespectful. Shaya. Disrespectful, no disrespect. Ungakhala ku TV. Marazokhala ngempela eNewcastle. We must do it before 2024. Because we must make our people in KZN that the fearless alternative that hits both sides and still remains standing is the EFF. We can't say we're an alternative when we're scared of the IFP, when we're scared of the ANC. We must put them combined together and defeat them in KwaZulu-Natal without working with any of them, because our people will give us the mandate alone to lead this province of KwaZulu-Natal. Fighters, you have a big job now. I had DP counting numbers here, 9,000 VDs and 53,000 VDTFs. And next year, in February, we are in Moses Mabhida. 10. On the 10th of February, 10 February, we are launching our manifesto at Moses Mabhida in eThekwini. Not, what is that park next to Mabhida? People's Park. Huh? Yeah, not at People's Park. Not at King's Park. Park at inside Moses Mabhida. You saw prisoners trying to imitate the EFF, ex-convicts, Mapantit, trying to imitate the EFF. Mashaba, a man who's a hairdresser, who's masquerading as a politician, yesterday went to a place where he was born. He said, I'm going to launch a manifesto on a playground where I was born. He couldn't fill a stretch tent. Stretch tent. Melaswa Kombis. Uguti, there is only one party in South Africa that can go anywhere in South Africa. It will find its own people ready to receive it. Because we are not a tribalistic party like the IFP. If the IFP says it's a national party, we challenge them to go and have a rally at Pitamkaba Stadium in Polokwane. We will have a rally at Moses Mabhida in KwaZulu-Natal. They won't have it anywhere else, because they are a regional organization. We are not a regional organization. We are an international organization. When we go everywhere in the continent, the people come out in their numbers to come and receive the message of the EFF, because we're an international organization. That's why when we sing Nkosi Sikelele Africa, there where we say Morena Buluka, Lena, you say South Africa, and we insist yes, now we insist Africa. There's no South Africa in Nkosi Sikelele that we sing. There's Africa. Because there is no place called South Africa. South Africa is a geographical concept which seeks to give you direction. It's not a name of a place. We are in Africa. So once you say Africa, you don't have to add anything before. You have covered everything, including this side of the south of Africa. Because we're an international organization. That's why the logo of the EFF has got no South African map. It has got African map. Because we're an organization that wants to unify the whole of Africa, have one currency, have one parliament, have one president, and have one military command. Because the reason we're fragmented like this and we're defeated is because the enemy enjoys and thrives when we're divided. They say to you, he says, remove borders. Why is he saying remove borders? He wants these people to come here. He wants these people to come here. There are no borders in Europe. The people who say to you, why do you want to remove borders? They don't have borders themselves. And we have not seen, because of borderless Europe, we have not seen the people of Italy moving to Britain. Because the pound is stronger, let's go to Britain than the euro. No. They've always stayed where they are. But they can eat breakfast in Italy and have lunch in Britain and have dinner in Spain without any hassle. Why? They are one people. They are enjoying each other. They embrace one another. But we must not do that. Once we do that, Malema says people must come here. They are going to take your jobs and all of that. Why are you allowing that? This Malema must be stopped. It's not true. Inkosi Tembe is an Inkosi of the Tembe family, both here in KwaZulu-Natal and in Mozambique. In Mozambique, they never said, yo, Inkosi yethu iseNatal. Sesihamba manje. We're no longer staying in Mozambique. No, they're staying in Mozambique. So it's not true that once you say there is no border, there is no border in the Tembe nation. They are one thing. But those who are in Mozambique, they stayed there. Those who are in South Africa, they stay here. In Lesotho, there is no fence between Free State and Lesotho. The people of Lesotho, what is the day today? Sunday. They are in Free State now as we speak. Around 5, 6, Wazopinda. Go back to Lesotho. There's no problem. They are together. They are one thing. So why didn't they move from Lesotho into Free State before even Malema existed and the EFF existed? Because there's never been a fence. There's no fence. Mashaba showed you. He went to Limpopo and said, yeah, look, there's no fence here between Zimbabwe and Limpopo. But when you go into Zimbabwe, there are still people there in Zimbabwe. They are staying there. Yet Mashaba confirmed there is no fence. And without fence, these people are going to come here. Malema says they must come here. There is no fence. Why are they not coming now? There is no fence. I said to you, mark that, we are led by fools. Because there is no fence, but there is a gate. We are led by fools. There is no fence, but there is a gate. When you go home today, you arrive at your home from this meeting, you just find the fence is gone. Only the gate is standing alone like this. And then, what do you do? Without fence, you still open the gate too. Hey, we are in a state of madness. Why, if these borders mean nothing, why are they opposed to them? They are threatened by African unity, because the unity of African people will mean they are equal to China, they are equal to India, they are equal to Russia, they are equal to Britain. How can Swaziland tell Britain anything with that size of a population? They won't listen to them. But once we come together, we are billions of people who can confront the status quo globally. So, don't listen to the nonsense that says, these people are going to come here, they are going to take our jobs and all of that. Anyway, these people have been here. The economy of South Africa that was established by Rhodes, Cecil John Rhodes, established the economy and the economic system of South Africa using Southern Africa. There's no nation that has not contributed in the gold and diamonds which made what South Africa is today. That's why there is a language called Fanaka Law. That language did not come from the EFF. We found it. Why? Africans found themselves together and had to develop a language which will make it easy for them to communicate as colleagues. They've been here. So there's no one, and they've never been here with their families. They are here to work, and then when they are off, they go back to their families. No one will ever overburden your health system, because these people are not here. They are searching for greener pastures. They are going back. If you follow the logic that says people move to areas where there is richness, and that area is more richer than where you come from, then let's look at Limpopo. Limpopo is extremely poor compared to Gauteng. There is no border between Limpopo and Gauteng. There is no fence. But the people of Limpopo never moved from Limpopo to go and settle in Gauteng, because Gauteng is more richer than Limpopo. So if this logic that Nigerians are going to move from Nigeria to here because they are looking for the richness here, why are the people of Limpopo not being the first ones to move into Gauteng to go and look for those richness? So do not follow the logic that doesn't work, because its aim is to keep us divided and control the whole of Africa. All I'm saying is the EFF is not a tribalistic organization, it's not an ethnic organization, it's not a regional organization, it's an international organization. And everywhere, even in America, where you find black people, where you find Africans, where you find the oppressed and the dejected masses of our people, and you are wearing a red beret, they are all going to come greet you because they know that this is the organization that represents all of us. Fighters, we celebrated HIV and AIDS Day here. But my worry is that it looks like we are going back here in KwaZulu-Natal. It looked like we were winning the battle against HIV and AIDS. But now, statistics suggest we are going back to 2000. Comrades, we cannot afford to be sick now. This country needs men and women who are healthy, who are fit and proper to come and run it. Now we have to go back to basics. We have to make sure we use condom if we can abstain. We have to be faithful if we are in a relationship because eThekwini is drifting back. The youth of eThekwini are going to be sick in their numbers if the EFF does not champion the campaign against the spread of HIV and AIDS. It is us as this generation which cares about our people, which must make sure that the youth are engaged in responsible sexual activities. But what made me happy was that we have done away with the stigma of people who are HIV positive. Today, we embrace them. Today, we don't isolate them. We don't shame them. We say, this is my brother, this is my sister. We even help to support them, make sure they take their medication, because we know that HIV and AIDS does not mean the end of life. That's what I'm happy about. Let us not stigmatize those who are HIV positive. But I'm worried about our nurses, about our clinics and hospitals, where they say those who want ARVs must come on Wednesday. So when you see the queue on Wednesday, you know these ones are HIV positive. Or when they go to fetch their ARVs, a nurse just screams from there, those ones of ARVs, queue this side, queue this side. That is wrong. That is unacceptable. It's not for you to tell anyone who's HIV positive or not. It's for those people to tell it is their own problem. Stop isolating our people when they come to the clinics. The clinics must be welcoming. Fighters, you know the EFF is a very good organization because since 10 years it was formed, it made politics so fashionable in South Africa. Everybody now wants to talk about politics in South Africa. Even Danda heads, they've got an opinion now in South Africa. More political parties are being formed and they fail the following day. But thanks to the EFF, that it has liberated people to know that they've got a political freedom of association. Who would have thought that people can follow parliament? Only after EFF entered parliament in 2014, people started knowing that there is parliament on TV 408. They follow it. Before the EFF, they didn't follow that channel. Today, when a girlfriend and a boyfriend are fighting, they don't see the issues the same. They just go point of order. Point of order. Point of order. Madam Speaker, now sit down, sit down. They know all those issues, but more than anything, we taught them that you don't elect people and go and disappear and come back after 5 years. You elect people and watch them on a television channel, whether they are carrying your mandate or not, so that after 5 years, you will decide whether you want to return them back or not. The youth of South Africa today enjoy and love politics. Before the EFF, they were saying the youth is apathetic, the youth is not interested. We are using science. We are not just saying the youth is interested. Go to the universities. The EFF Student Command leads 80% of universities and TVET college all over South Africa. Why? You know, students, you can't just go there and say, hey, we fought for you. Hey, we went to jail for you. Went to exile. They are too young. They are not interested in those things. You have to make sense to them why they should vote for your party. And they listen to all political parties because they've got access to social media, to YouTube, to everything. They can hear all of them speak, and they are trying to listen to a party that makes sense to the youth and the student. And they've taken a decision that the EFF is the only party that makes sense to young people of South Africa. The rest do not make sense. Who would have thought the land issue can be in parliament and be in communities everywhere? Land is everything. When you are born into the land. When you die, you need a piece of land where you will be buried. You need land on birth. You need land on death. That's why land is everything. If you are not going to fight for land, forget it. Land brings pride. Land brings dignity. Land makes people respect you because you own a piece of land. So I'm going to meet the king on Tuesday. I'm going to ask him for a piece of land. Magazela said, no, don't ask. Just go to Nkosi and say, from here to there. That's how you do it here. But I don't want to get into trouble, so I must go and ask the king. So this region that you say they've led a successful land occupation here in KwaZulu-Natal, they've brought a dignity, istima, amongst those people there. There is no water there where the EFF occupied land. There is no electricity. There is no tar road. There is no clinic. Nothing. There is a piece of land. They say, once I've got this, now I know the journey has begun. That's why even when you stay at home in a back room and there is a funeral, Vukan, there's a funeral at home, and you come from the back room into a family meeting, they say, when can we bury? And then Vukan, who stays in a back room, says, I think Saturday, but Ima. Let people speak, Ima. Because there's no white man there. There's no outsider there. There's no one who hates you, nothing. Your own mother, your own father knows back room. I was suggesting Saturday. Ima. Let people speak. They mean your sister who stays at an informal settlement where there is no water, where there is no electricity, but even in a shack, there is no window. The corrugated iron is rusty. But she must give an opinion because she's got a piece of land. Even Mafika SG, but hey, Hambo Tata Mans, hey, this person traveled a long distance. Go. Yeah, they know you are coming from your own land. That's what land does. Even the most hopeless drunkard who's drinking now, going back to the shack that I've described, there is no fence there. Nothing, just a shack standing. But he knows his corners. Mafika nje, he stands like this in front of the shack. He doesn't point the shack. He can't stand, he's so drunk. He points down. Kukwamela. That's what the land does. We want everyone in South Africa, black people in particular, to have a piece of land and stand there firmly and confidently. This is my place. Patrice Motsepe, with all his money, white people will never respect him because black people don't own land. Now that Patrice is black and they don't know who is this person, they just see a black person, they know that it's not worth respecting. Until someone says it's a different black with a mine, it's not those ones, then their attitude changes. But if they don't know Patrice and he walks in, he will be told by a shopkeeper, Sivali le Puma. I went and I sorry say when I was what's wrong? Patrice Motsepe. Because every black person looks like they don't own a piece of land. Why? Because majority of us do not own property. So Patrice Motsepe and all of you who own some small pieces of land must join the struggle for all to own a piece of land for you to earn the respect of our enemies. Because if you say, I own alone, I don't care, you shall be beaten by a bartender of a white person because you are a black person. They don't know the other side, that you are not like us. So in order to avoid that, join the struggle for all black people's dignity to be restored. Because if black people's dignity is restored, all of us are going to enjoy the respect of our enemies. Fighters, you seated here, you are the lifeblood of the EFF. You are the epicenter of this revolution. Without you, there will not be an EFF. And many of you do not appreciate that. You think that the EFF is these people in front. I teach with very simple way. If we come to this hall here, I asked the SG if this agricultural college is still working. He said yes. Because I know the ANC destroyed all of them. If we come into this hall and there is these leaders here in front and you are not here, the meeting of the EFF failed because the EFF was not there, with the leadership being here. So the EFF is not leadership. The EFF is you, the members of the organization, everywhere else you are. You must know you are the lifeblood of this organization. And if you stop to exist, it will die. So most of these people don't have organizations because they don't have people like you in their organizations. Comrades, when you want to be a ground force of note, you have to be knowledgeable. You have to read something. Because when people see you, they see a solution to the problems they are confronted with. So you have to be a knowledgeable someone in the community. You have to have the capacity to agitate and mobilize communities and lead community strikes and protests. Because you can't be a ground force if you can't agitate. You can't be a ground force if you can't differentiate between a legitimate, genuine community protest and a factional protest of the ANC. Because most of these protests are not genuine. You find a certain faction of the ANC is fighting with the faction of the councillor. Then they say, let's march. As a ground force, you must have the capacity to differentiate between a genuine one and the factional one of the ANC. As a ground force, you must love communities and work for them without expecting anything in return. So most of you now are going to work. That's why you are here. The SG says, yeah, you are going to get Mkombandlela. That's why you are here. You are not here because you love your communities. You are here to take Mkombandlela, to go and sell Mkombandlela to your communities. After election, you disappear. That is not a genuine love for communities. Love communities, work for them without expecting votes. Don't go. Now is December. Children must get reports. A principal is going to refuse with a report. The parents are going to call you to go and get the reports of their children. You go there, no, give them reports. You don't have a contract with them. You've got a contract with their parents. The report belongs to the children. Give the children the report. Then, the principal gives children the report. When you leave the office with the children and the mothers of the children, because you successfully represented them, they will know you. They vote EFF. You must vote EFF. You are told my report. They vote EFF. You don't say that. Do not say that. Go and talk for their reports. Thank them and walk away. Sizo zatina. Sit eyes, EFF. Barry, we know your work. They refused my child with a report. I was held by the EFF. But once you start saying, yeah, we did this, they switch off and they are no longer interested. Know your communities by name. Know each and every house who needs a wheelchair in that community. Because you might be called to a meeting in eThekwini. When you arrive there, people are being given wheelchairs. You don't take the wheelchair because you don't know anyone who needs a wheelchair. When you go back home, rushing home, there is some mcimbi there you want to go and attend. You hear a story that there is a person there who can walk. We are trying to get that person a wheelchair. You're like, no man. I was in a meeting where they were giving people wheelchairs. But had you known, you are not going to be like that. Once they say wheelchairs are here, you're like, I need one. I've got a person where I come from who needs a wheelchair because the old one is broken. You must know if there is a child-headed family in your community, HIV positive people who reveal their status, you must know them and check if they take their ARVs and they've got access to proper food. You must know if there is an old woman in that house who stays alone. Why do you say you love your communities? You go every day past a house of an old woman who stays alone. You never go in to check. And when you go to check her, it doesn't take you 5 minutes. That day, you decide to walk in there. You find, God forbid, an old woman being raped and left there to die. As she was about to die, you arrive. You call an ambulance or call a car, you rush her to a hospital, you save her life because you care about communities. You didn't go because there was an election. I had a bit of time. Nothing check. That's love of communities. Then when the elections come, the Gogo would have passed away. The Gogo may not be there to tell a story. Someone who saw that will be able to narrate the good work the EFF did in that house when they helped an old woman. That's why I'm going to vote for them. You are a councillor. You are not a councillor. You are like Linda Svia or Magasela. You've got a little bit money of income. Why can't you take 700 rand? You go to a taxi person, hey chief, how much do you make per day? He says, no, 700 rand. He says, okay, I'm going to give you 800. Take out the taxi, take the gogos from my ward here to a paying point to go and collect their pensions and bring them back, parade like that, just for today only, when they are getting their pension from post office or wherever they go and collect their pension. 700 rand. You do not lose anything. You know why? That 700 rand, you are going to use it on expensive alcohol, which is going to damage your liver. Use that 700 rand to help someone who needs it more than you. Abu Gogo, I don't know if they still do it. They used to stand long queues waiting for their monies. Where is the EFF that says it cares for communities to organize a soup and bread when it's not expensive? Where is the EFF to organize Mahalis juice, mix it, put some ice, and make sure the ice slips in that juice. In the morning, carry that bucket to the long queues of the gogos. Just give them juice. It's too hot. They will appreciate that small gesture. A fighter, a ground force, must be a charitable someone. A charitable someone. Someone who loves people and loves the poor. Yesterday, I gave an example with national chairperson of the EFF. I said, you know, you ladies, national chair, without sounding sexist, you still have the dresses that you had when you were doing grade 8 in the wardrobe. You never release with ease. You still kept them there. You even forgot that they are there. When you leave that wardrobe full with ugly shoes that you no longer need, Linda, you don't even look at them. But hey, when there are many there, you're like, I'm in charge. You don't need them. You leave your house, you go into a community and say, we must take care of the poor. We must look after one another. But you can take those old shoes and give them, because it must start with you. It can't start with the government. Start by giving little into the communities. Once you give little into the communities, then we know if he starts giving little, the day he gets more, he will be able to share with all of us, because he demonstrated this when he had nothing. Charitable. Do not display opulence. Do not show off as a fighter that loves his communities. Some of you here, Facebook revolutionaries, I still want someone to educate me. I'm not on Facebook. Why do you take food pictures and put them on Facebook as a ground force, as a coordinator, convener, chairperson, secretary? Put them on Facebook coming from a poverty-stricken community. What must happen now? They will eat it from the Facebook. What do you seek to achieve with that? How does that benefit the EFF when you put ML, X5, my whip, showing your house in a country where people are homeless? How does showing a house going to help our people get houses? You must not leave here saying, no, he said we must not drive ML. No. Drive it. Don't show off. Do not display opulence. A fighter, a ground force, does not hold a grudge against others. You make your point in a meeting and you finish. You don't take it outside. You don't say, I'll show him. Once you do that, you are not a ground force of the EFF. You are not a fighter. We speak here, it ends here. When we go outside, we are one thing and we display unity of purpose. Now, you know, in the Xhosa culture, there is what we call amakabani. The people who go to initiation schools, they are expected to apply, where is that? In Imbola. Yeah, Imbola. There's an Imbola that they apply on their body. They put it all over the body, including at the back. But you are in an initiation school. You can't put it at your back. There is no mirror to put it at your back. Your mother, who always take care of your back, you are no longer there. She's not there. It's you and this guy that you met at the initiation school. He must take your imbola and apply it at the back. And then you must do the same to him. Apply it at the back. Because if it's not applied properly at the back, the teacher, when you walk out of that hut and you don't look presentable, you are going to be beaten or even get into trouble. So you ought to be so presentable, including at the back. So we are covered. We are covered now. We are covered. So bayakabana, amakabani. That's where the concept amakabani comes from. Bayakabani. I've got no mirror. I can't see if this person that I met here can do well and make sure I don't get beaten because my imbola is not well at the back. But this is my likabani. I have to trust this likabani lamb and walk out of here confidently, knowing I'm well covered. Because to be my likabani means you must have my back, I must have your back. And that's why in this hall it's only makabani. Because if you are not a likabani, you can't be in here. I'm fighting the enemy. The enemy in front of me is charging. I'm fighting, someone is screaming. The enemy is coming from behind. I can't look at the back because once I look at the back, I'm going to lose this fight. But I know you are at the back. You are behind me. You'll take care of the enemy behind me when I'm busy with this enemy. I trust you that much. That's what you are to each other. Don't be a person who's readily available to sell out another fighter. A convener gives you an apology. Hey, I want to arrive. Yes, my apology. My son is sick. When you arrive in a meeting, apology, you don't speak about it, you sit on top of it. Because you want it to happen repeatedly so that this fighter can be removed. What do you gain when this fighter is removed? You are like Kaman. Defend one another, even when you don't have an apology. Yes. I've got an apology here of fighter Floyd Nyego Shibambo. Yes. He had a puncher, after making that input, Nyego Shibambo walks in. But you didn't know where he was, but you know, a comrade of mine is so disciplined that he can't miss this meeting. Something wrong might have happened. So I need to cover him until I get the real reason why. I will cover for you and cover for you and cover for you until my conscience tells me you are not committed. I have to pass you over to the leadership. Don't be readily available to sell one another. Always look after each other and always make sure that you defend one another, because there's too much hate there against the EFF. Fighters, someone told me that you are branch conveners and coordinators. As a coordinator, you coordinate election work, everything election work in your branch. You must establish VDETFs. They are not going to be established by sub-region. Sub-region established a BET, which has got a coordinator. The BET must now establish VDETFs with the support of the sub-region, the region, the province, and national. But you are not going to leave this hall and tell people you are a coordinator when you have not coordinated a single VDETF. So coordinator means you move from this VD, establish VDETFs. You don't leave after that. You permanently coordinate them and make sure they have got activities and they do not die. So you can't be a coordinator without these VDETFs and election work in your branch. Because coordination. So coordination, what are you coordinating? You're just a coordinator in J. You are just a convener in J. You don't convene branch election activities. You don't convene election work. The last time you were a convener of a branch, that is the day they told you and even tipped you that you might receive a call. You must confirm. Convene election activities. What are the election activities? Everything that affects communities must be convened. They don't have to be this big. Organize netball tournament, soccer tournament. Organize a march to the police station against GBV. Organize a workshop on entrepreneurship and call someone to come and give the youth a lecture on entrepreneurship. You don't have to spend a cent. You don't have to do it. Just a school there and all. So once you have activities, you are going to have activists who are going to help you do election work there. That's why when the leadership comes, they say to you, where are the activists? Or there are no activists. There will never be activists in the absence of activities. Activists. They must come and be activists of what? When there are no activities. And how do you keep the VDETFs live? Activities of your branch must not happen in one VD. They must rotate all the VDs. Some of you think that your ward is your VD. You don't even know that there's a VD kilometers away from where you stay. That's why when we come, you say to us, CIC tata manje. La, le what? Say tata. And as far say tata. Mara, I say what? Give VD. It's not a what, it's a VD. So you ought to work in all the VDs. And you must never get tired. Because this job we are doing doesn't need people who are impatient. It moves very slowly, like an elephant, but once it has passed, it will leave a mark. People will know that you were here. So let's have activities. Let's coordinate our branches. And as we march into the elections, fighters, do not remove other people's posters or leaflets. I was so happy with the work you did here on registration weekend. It shows the EFF is growing. But more than that, and what makes me more happy, is that there was no single incident of violence in KwaZulu-Natal during voter registration. Let it be like that in the next registration. Let it be like that on the day of the elections. Because in the absence of violence, the IFP and the ANC will not win KwaZulu-Natal. They win because of violence and intimidation of our people. When we went to the site where the IFP governs in those municipalities, at the voting stations, it was EFF, IFP, no ANC. When we come to the site of the ANC, where ANC governs, we find ANC, EFF. The common factor in all corners of KZN was the EFF, and there is no region or sub-region where you will not have found the EFF in KwaZulu-Natal. So this province, we have declared war on it. We are going to sit here. We told Mongezi, don't worry about us. We don't want your position. We've got our own positions. We are here to help you. When we are done, we'll hand it over back to you, and you must continue with the work of the EFF. But in this province, we're going to work like we're crazy. Because this province has got our votes. Kudala, people stealing our votes in this province. We're coming to fetch now. Yabona eswenabu Linda Svia. You know, Linda Svia has had the ANC so much by becoming EFF. Because I didn't pay attention. Then I learned there was by-election here in Musunduzi. Yeah. Then I see a tweet by the ANC Secretary General showing Floyd. You guys lost that word terribly. Showing Floyd and Linda Svia, they are addressing there. Then they lose. Then Mbalula posts, it says, the EFF big wigs were out. But Linda Svia, they lost. The problem is this Linda Svia. They are hating on him so much. As if he took something from them. As if, this guy owes them something. They've got some sense of entitlement on him. So much that unprovoked, a person just singles out a fighter. Linda Svia is not a commissar, is not a leader, is not the Secretary General of a ruling party. Singles out a fighter. That's how much you have won. And you don't appreciate it. The enemy is appreciating out there. The big wig of the EFF, Linda Sevilla. Get it, yeah? Kunzima mos. But those untalented artists of the ANC, every time they go to ANC things and do ANC work, we never mention them, we never isolate them. Why isolate our fighter for an assault? Because he happened to be a high profile who took a political stance. You've got the same thing with so many untalented artists who come close, not anywhere close to Linda Sevilla. If anything, Linda Sevilla made a lot of them here in KwaZulu-Natal. Supported them. Never looked down on them. Even the untalented one, he said, if you've got interest and passion, we can auto-tune it and worry. We'll see forward. So, comrades, we must make sure we do our things in an orderly manner. You want to remove posters, you are bored and you feel like removing posters. Remove the posters of the EFF because they are not many again. You take them from this street, you go and put them in the next street, and then you take from that street the following day to the other street. By the time the elections come, every street had a 10 of posters of the EFF because you have some energy. Use it on the posters of the EFF. Leave other people's posters. Don't use violence. Don't threaten female fighters. Don't threaten females who support other political parties. You have a duty to make sure that when you book a venue, follow the procedures. Because you must not come in here only to find that the ANC booked this before you and it causes a problem. Always make sure your things are in order. We must always make sure that all our VDETFs are properly trained with the party agents. Fighters, don't stop anyone from doing door to door. Even in your home, I said this in Northern Cape yesterday and they were howled at me. Hey. They can't enter our houses. But the point I was making is, if you're not a coward and you believe in your conviction, why would you stop an ANC person entering your house? Because that's an opportunity for you to tell them face to face those things you have been telling us about them when they are not there. They need to be told on their faces when they come door to door. Even where the EFF has occupied land and given people houses, let the ANC come and do door to door. Let the IFP do the same. Because if you stop them, then they are going to stop you. So do not do to others what you don't want done to you. Fighters, don't drink alcohol. Don't smoke drugs during door to door. During door to door. Do not smell alcohol during door to door. Why? Because once a person smells alcohol or looks drunk, the people shut down. They don't believe drunkards. They're like, this one is drunk. What can he tell us? You can't smoke cigarette while canvassing a vote. Hey, let's vote it up. You can't do that. Do not speak to people before you ask them the permission to speak to them. You must come in. How are you? Fine. Do you have a moment for us who are from the EFF? Yes, please speak. Then you introduce yourself and then you go on. You don't arrive by just arriving, you start talking. Votelens, EFFs, votelens. You think you know them. They're like, what's this now? Of course, we are members of society and there will be some drunkards amongst us. You must know where to use these drunkards. You don't chase them away. Say, you see where they are cooking. We suspect those people that they are going to steal the food. So when you are going to sit there, and you are not sitting there, Mahala and Jay. We are going to leave you with 2 cold ones. Sit there. Say, door to door. Sibuya Cooperation Center. The food is ready. We eat. Our person is there. Yeah, hey, how's things? Is everything fine? Yeah. The 2 is finished. Yeah. You go fetch another 2. Sit here. When look after these people who are coming back. Then we go back to conclude the day of the door-to-door. Come back to join our guy and also release ours as well, the cold ones, and relax because we have done work. So don't leave here and say, he said he don't want people who drink alcohol there. You can drink your alcohol. All I'm saying is, it must be done in a responsible manner. Why? Because from today when you live here, you are professional revolutionaries. You know what to do, where, at what time. Fighters, you must always be clean. Do not campaign with the dirty regalia of the EFF. With the torn regalia of the EFF. To be clean is not to be rich. And don't say no. They say we must be rich. If we are not rich, we can. No. Be clean. You are not forced at all times to wear regalia if you don't have it. Just wear your clothes like I'm speaking to you now. I'm not wearing regalia, but I'm not less EFF. Because Vuskoza used to wear regalia of EFF. And then what happened? Regalia doesn't mean anything. What matters is your heart. Are you here for real with us? Are you part of the cause for real? So when you don't have regalia, don't feel less EFF. To a point where you end up wearing a dirty regalia, a torn apart regalia because you think that is being EFF. Be clean, smell good, please. You cannot smell armpits. You walk into a house of black middle class. They are relaxed on a Sunday, they are having a meal, and then you come into the house. Unyuga. The whole house is messed up. Even that pumpkin, we can't taste it anymore. Or, hi, zolnikete misebenzi. Or misebenzi. Amphithi misebenzi. Misebenzi. Misebenzi dirty misebenzi. No, you cannot be like that when you want to tell the people about a good future and a better future that is coming. When you enter a house, by how you smell, by how you have dressed, by how clean you are, you must, and even when you open your mouth, because you are this knowledgeable person, when you open your mouth, already we have accepted you. Now you are adding cherry on top with knowledge. But this is how 2024 looks like. We can see it. We are sitting with it now. We know that the future looks like this person. You must look like the future of South Africa. The future of South Africa doesn't smell. That's why we are going to fix the storage in eThekwini and stop it from going into the beaches and oceans. That's why the EFF is the only organization that is going to restore eThekwini to its former glory, to being a destination of tourists and not a dumping center. When you say that, by looking at you, must see the crystal clear swimming pools of eThekwini. Dress the way you want to be addressed. We don't represent backwardness. We don't represent poverty. We represent the future of the wealth in the hands of our people. And by so doing, we're inspiring confidence. Look at O.R. Tambo in the 60s when he went to the exile until he returned. He was a statesman. Even in exile, even under apartheid, under difficult conditions, he said, this is who we are. That's what you must be. Do not doubt yourself. I said, seated here are ministers, are MECs and all of that. You start now to portray that image of people who are serious about taking over government. We do so in a very humble manner and always respectful to our communities. So I am here today because I'm coming to fetch you to join a march. And this march is not going to eThekwini, it's not a comrade marathon. This march is not going to Newcastle. We are marching from today, non-stop, to Pretoria. We are going to Union Building. And there's nothing that is going to stop us. No traffic cop will stop us. No police brutality will stop us. No army can stop us. We are marching in unison. We are marching together. We are one thing. We are going to Union Building. We are going to install the flag of the EFF at the Union Building and in all embassies of South Africa, all over the world. They like it or not, the march starts today. Natal, you are invited to Union Building and do not disappoint. Make it to Union Building. Amandla! Amandla! Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! My Dome! My Dome! My Dome! My Dome! Niyabasabana! Niyabasabana! Aunoma kubi siyaya siyaya noma kubi siyaya siyaya noma besitobola besishaya besibopha noma besitobola besishaya besibopha noma kubi siyaya siyaya noma kubi siyaya siyaya noma besidobola besishaya besibopha noma besedobola besishaya besibopha. Who left? Who right? Yasa. Who left? Kita. Kilome. Kiribata. Samarumo. Rumo. Asicha. Where were you when I'm shit? Where were you when I'm home? So for sketching, so for sketching, etati, kichima, bonke labantu, hibagiti, siltatile, hilagiti, kichima, Sipram Konto Alliance. Brr, pa, brr, pa. Tension. Mandla wena komanda besifisuku kubonga sekukani wena komanda besifisuku kubonga sekukani sekukani ngusenzelo kuhle sekukani ngisekuka usenzelo amandla wethu mele senasejimini wakushuthi sophelele endleleni. Must be fit, comrade. Mungameli siyabonga. I'll call on Commissar Ndawoso for announcement. Hey, why ask me?